Right, so many amazing El Clasicos over the years. Last night, right up there as well, the match between Barcelona and Real Madrid.
Yeah, Franck Kessie scored a late winner for Barca. They won it 2-1. Let's get more on this now. Speak to Semra Hunter. Hello, Semra. Lovely to see you. OK, just talk us through how last night's match played out. It was pretty dramatic, wasn't it?
Dramatic is a good way to describe it. And I agree with Tom. It really was one of the best Clásicos we've had in a while. And I think one of the reasons for that is, quite honestly, I think it was the most evenly balanced game that I've seen between the two of them in quite some time. You really could have just thrown a coin in the air and said, you know what, it could go either way, and either team would honestly have deserved the win. Even a draw would have been a fair result, I think, because both of them came out on the offensive and they were so good at driving forward and they were so good at creating chances, even though Barcelona up until the 70th, 75th minute probably had more of the clear-cut chances and created more than Real Madrid did. But quite honestly, it was a really entertaining game because both of them had a crack at going at goal. And it was almost like an exchange of blows throughout the whole 90 minutes, I guess you could say. And Real Madrid, they got a little bit lucky. I think Vinicius Jr. finally got the better of Araujo, who had been so difficult for him to come up against in the last 3-4 Clásicos. And I think every time Araujo was on him, Barcelona always won. So he got a little bit lucky with that deflection and the own goal in the opening period. And then, obviously, Sergio Roberto, who Xavi admittedly wasn't quite sure whether he should start or not, was able to get the equaliser at the stroke of halftime. But then really things started to change when the substitutions were made from both sides around the 75th minute mark. And I think Real Madrid actually had the better chance of winning the game at that point. And obviously they scored, it was disallowed. It was one of those games that really was decided on the finest of margins. And we're talking about centimetres probably, because Asensio did score, but it was disallowed by VAR, supposedly for offside. I think it's open to interpretation. A lot of people don't agree, but some do. I mean, it was that close. But then after that, obviously, Kessie came off the bench. People in Italy who have watched him know that he's capable of scoring a goal. And that's exactly what he did. He came off the bench and he was able to score the match winner for Barcelona. And I think both of them really went for it because they knew what it would mean, respectively. In the case of Barcelona, it means that they've probably sewn up the league. It's probably theirs now. I think it's safe to say 12 points difference. Real Madrid were trying to keep themselves in it because they would have cut the distance down to 6 points, which still would have been difficult. But at least it would have given them a chance of saying, you know what, we're going to fight to the very end, not throw in the towel yet, and see what we can do and hope that Barcelona drop points. So it was a really nice game to watch. And I think both of them really kind of were at their best last night to some degree. And it was good fun. It was nice to see.
That kind of 6-point swing you were talking about, how if Real Madrid had won, it would have been 6, but now it's 12 because Barcelona won it. Is the feeling in Spain that psychologically, not just the 12 points, but psychologically Real Madrid can't come back from that?
Yeah, I think so. Even Thibaut Courtois, after the game, straight away was asked about that. And he said, yes, let's be honest, it's pretty much over for us. We're not going to give up until the very end because we're Real Madrid and that's what we do. And we'll always fight on all fronts until we can't anymore. But I think even he basically admitted indirectly that it was game over for them. And you can see the players at the centre circle, the Barcelona players at the end of the game celebrating. They don't do that at the end of games typically. So they know what that result meant for them. And even the fans afterwards in the stands were singing campeones, campeones at periods, which means champions. And so I think everyone kind of feels as though this was the game that would be the deciding factor in what would happen for the league title race. And ultimately, the feeling in Spain is, OK, it's over now. Yeah. Barcelona have got their hands on it. They've only lost 2 games in the league all season long, and there's 12 games left. So it's very difficult to see them losing 4, which is what would have to happen, and Real Madrid would have to win everything. And I just don't see that happening. It's not impossible, of course, because a catastrophe could happen and Boston all of a sudden could start dropping a lot of points. I just don't see that happening. This is the only thing they have left to fight for. There's still the cup, but there's no European football anymore. Whereas Real Madrid are still alive in the Champions League and they have a really difficult run-in potentially to the final, as well as the cup. So yes, I think the feeling here is that the Barcelona are going to win the league finally for this first time after 3 years. It will be the first one in the post-Messi era, the first one of the Xavi era. And also it's the first time that a manager since Pep Guardiola has won 3 Clásicos in a calendar year, since 2011. So spirits are high in Barcelona.
Thanks ever so much, Semra. Great to speak to you.